All righty, thank you. Okay, so I've been hearing that this has been a pretty interactive group. So I'm looking to see if that's as accurate as I'm hearing. So one thing that I do in these presentations is I ask people, we do have reaction buttons, the availability to use that. Oh, Randy, you are feeling it. Good. So when you see things that you know, when you understand, raise hands. If you've been to my sessions, I tell this every single time. I'm such a broken record. One time I told somebody, I said, give us the best emoji. What is your favorite reaction? And somebody put a goat out there. And of course I'm thinking, well, that is weird. Maybe they grew up on a farm. I grew up in a small town on a farm. We had goats. No, the person proceeded to tell me that they are the greatest of all times and compared themselves to Michael Jordan. So I just went with it. We didn't want to stop the training for that. So I'm glad to see everybody. Today is what is LEAP and how can it help when applying for a government job? That is a very, I love your laugh there because that is a very long title, tongue twister. Feel free to continue saying that as we go through. So as mentioned, I'm with the Department of Rehabilitation. My name is Spencer Hoke. I am a business specialist consultant for our Northern California division. We have 13 districts across the state of California, and we have a 14th, which is our blind field services division. We provide services to individuals with disabilities. As you can see, we serve to provide opportunities for employment, independence, and equality. So if you're on here and you're thinking, what, are we just talking about people with disabilities? Yeah, so you know what, we also do a lot of disability etiquette trainings. And so if you've gone in our trainings, you know that a lot of times it's not them, it's not the them we're talking about, it's us. And so we know 1 in 5 people may be an individual with a disability, if it's physical, non-apparent, visible, whatever that could be across that disability spectrum. Especially since the pandemic, we've seen a lot more individuals. And so that's why we wanted to touch in today, because there's a lot more individuals who may not know how to utilize this alternative hiring process for the state of California. So you can go to the next slide, please. Thanks. So LEAP, if you're familiar with LEAP, let me see an emoji. If you know what this acronym and what this terminology says. There we go. Okay, I love it. We're getting it. So Limited Examination and Appointment Program. So this may or may not be the first time you've heard this today. Whenever we do how to get a state job, we'll refer to LEAP, and we'll encourage individuals who qualify for the LEAP certification, who have been LEAP certified, to consider utilizing a limited examination and appointment program. So LEAP is an alternative hiring process. The alternative hiring process to help individuals gain civil service into the state of California. So we talk about it a lot, and you may have already heard it. The applicants still need to be able to demonstrate their knowledge, their skills, and their abilities. However, what we're utilizing through LEAP is an on-the-job testing. So we'll go into that a little bit more. Onto the next slide, if you'd like. Thank you. So LEAP, if we're seeing some things that are familiar to you, great. If these are new and you have questions, we do have the Q&A and the chat. I probably will look at those a little later down the road, but if you have something, feel free to put it in there so you don't forget it. So there are 2 ways to complete the LEAP process. So the first part of it is a readiness evaluation. So the civil service exam, I'm sure Monique went over that and did an incredible job. You talk about getting a score and how you're eligible for, or you get into the top 3 ranks. Your rank will normally depend on what score you receive. So that is a great alternative. That is the state employment or civil service examination. Fantastic. The alternative that we're talking about here is the readiness evaluation. And so with the LEAP readiness evaluation, this is a pass or fail. So if an individual comes on, we're still looking at what your skills are based on your education, your experience, and your personal qualifications. And we're still meeting, you still have to be able to meet that minimum qualification. So a LEAP certification it's not the golden ticket from Willy Wonka. You don't get that and you get to jump right into the factory. You still have to be somebody who meets the minimum qualifications for the positions. So when you pass an exam and you either put your time or your hours that you've been involved in, if it's volunteer work, if it's paid work, if it's education, if it's other programs that you've been in, when you complete and pass the LEAP evaluation, what that means is that you meet the minimum qualifications for the classification. So again, every classification has its minimum qualifications, and you can see that as you go through the CalHR website, and you can notice that each classification breaks everything down based on what their skills are at each level for those positions. When you do complete a LEAP certification, you are placed in the top rank, which at that point you're eligible for this limited term employment opportunity. And so once you complete the LEAP, you are LEAP certified, which we're going to talk about how to get into that now. If you connect with a hiring manager and a hiring manager wants to hire you, and you're an individual who's utilizing a LEAP certification, what they're going to do is they're going to offer you the position. And nobody knows. A lot of times folks say, well, I don't want to disclose. We had a call yesterday and we were talking about diversity and inclusion, and we had somebody who said, well, I don't want to share my disability with a hiring manager because I feel like I'm going to be judged. I feel like they're going to maybe not take me serious or put me in some sort of a box that is not who I am. And so we encourage the individuals through this process. Nobody knows. Even when you complete your LEAP, that information doesn't go out. Not every agency or every manager gets that information. It's all still confidential. A lot of times I'll ask when we're doing a training, who's familiar with LEAP? I won't ask specifics because we want to keep everybody's information confidential. So once you are offered that position, once you are offered that opportunity, that employer, that hiring manager wants to bring you on, they're then informed by their personnel team that you are an individual who utilizes a LEAP a LEAP certification. So as you go through that process, in the past we used to look at, so you have a probation period. With LEAP, you still have that, but that is what's called your JEP, your job examination period. And so through that time, you get to show, as we talked about before, your skills, your abilities, your knowledge to the position. And there was a question. Let me check the question out real quick here. So what we look at is, it says at least twice during the evaluation period. Majority of it's monthly. You'll have a review with your hiring manager, the supervisor that picked you up, on a monthly basis, and you together will talk about what you're doing well, what you need to work on, and it gives both parties the opportunity to decide, is this something that's going to work for both of us? Okay, so good looking at here. So Gina said, if qualified for services, how can someone participate in the LEAP job service when applying for state positions when somebody who's already working full-time or part-time in non-state positions? Yeah, so once we complete a LEAP certification, it's you don't have to be receiving DOR services to be LEAP certified. I'm glad you said that. You're going to move to the head of the class, because that's the question when we leave a lot of times. People don't realize that LEAP is not only for people who are receiving DOR services, but for anybody in the state of California who's looking for employment. There's just an eligibility criteria, and we're going to be going through that pretty quickly. So, and if you are an individual who qualifies for services, we work around that schedule. You'll meet with a qualified rehabilitation counselor. So I was a counselor with DOR for just under 8 years. And so our schedules were 9 to 5, but we still work through lunches. We work through opportunities to develop a plan to help individuals gain whatever type of employment that might be, if it's public, if it's private, if it's in any other sector. So you can move to the next slide, please. And thank you for running my slides. You are fantastic. Okay, so how do we get LEAP certified? So I asked earlier if individuals know about the Department of Rehabilitation, and we had a couple of folks that said that they are familiar, but a lot of times when we come out, people aren't. CDCR, they think that we're folks that are coming either from the correction side, or they think that we are from drug and alcohol, which is a challenging thing when you sit on a fair. Let me give you a story. I was sitting at a career fair not too long ago, and I said to somebody, oh, it's great to see you. I'm trying to get engaged with folks. I said, we've been waiting for you. And the person just ran the opposite direction. Somebody she was with later said, oh, well, she thought you were a drug and alcohol program and that you thought she needed drug and alcohol counseling. Man, my face went red. I said, no, that is not the intention at all. Bring her back. Let's have a conversation. We don't want her to feel, get the wrong impression here. So she did come back. We had candy at our table. We don't normally. Gave her some candy, and I think she was happy to know more about DOR. Maybe even an ally for DOR as we move through into the future. So Department of Rehabs, as I mentioned, we have 14 divisions across the districts across the state of California, from the Oregon border all the way down beyond San Diego and down to the other border there. We'll make sure that you have slides and all the contact information. But if you were to click on this Department of Rehab link, it's going to take you to a place where you can find any DOR in any large or rural area across the state of California. So because if you're working with Department of Rehab and you've been qualified or determined eligible for services, you are automatically eligible for a LEAP certification. But if you're not, again, that's not going to stop you. If you do have a document, if you do have something that shows you have a disability, you can also be certified as a person for a LEAP certification. So the big thing is you either contact us, you can call us, call Department of Rehab, contact Department of Rehab, or you can show up at one of our facilities. If you have a proof of a disability, now a lot of times people are asking, well, what do I need? What's the proof? And so I'll give you an example of some of the things. I normally put these on here. We have a new team, and so I go on board, off board. What do I say? I put a lot of stuff on so they know they have everything access to them. But what we're looking at is we're looking at medical records. So if you have a doctor's note, if you have something that states your diagnosed disability, we look at that. On a doctor's letterhead, we'll take something again that has that diagnosis. If you have records from school, if an individual has a 509 or an IEP, if you have documents like that, we'll review those, and those can be considered as well. And then Social Security Administration, if you're an individual who's receiving Social Security disability, that is an automatic qualification. So if you have an award letter that comes in, if you show that to one of our DOR counselors, they're going to say, great, yeah, that's going to get you. There's also other things around, and you can have that conversation. If you call or show up to one of our offices, they'll be able to tell you, yeah, this qualifies, or maybe this doesn't. And a lot of times our counselors realize that we're not giving individuals a job, we're giving individuals another facet to apply for employment. So we're not, again, same with services, we're not looking to make people ineligible or disclude people. We're trying to help and include as many individuals as we can to be able to find gainful employment. And especially in working with individuals with disabilities, we're under the Health and Human Services umbrella. So if you are here looking for work and you want to look for a social service or a agency that's supporting other individuals, under the Health and Human Services umbrella, we have several agencies that do that. And one thing that we're pushing right now is called the California, it's the Health and Human Services Playbook. And our goal is to hire a more inclusive workforce of individuals who look like the people we serve, who look like us into state employment. So if you're excited about that, connect with me, and we'll get you involved in whatever we can to do that. So other things you'll need, as I mentioned, the proof of disability, an ID or something that shows who you are. So a license can work. We talk about a passport. That could work as well, but just something that shows who you are. It's your face, it's got your address, and that we can identify you are that person. And obvious impairments, those are qualified. You don't have to have a documentation. If you have a missing limb, you can either show or let us know that. So there's a lot of different ways that we as counselors can certify you, and observation is one. So you can go to the next slide. All right, so you may or may not have seen these. I'm gonna have to wonder why I put a big example on there. It makes it a little bit more challenging to see. But if you are a person who's been LEAP certified or not, this is what you're going to see. You're not going to get a certificate in the mail that says, John James is wonderful, he passed the. No, it's just a document that tells you that you are certified and that these are the next steps to getting you there. All right. So now for these next couple slides, we're going to take a look. And if these are images that are on the screen, we did do the alternative language, alternative text. So if you are using a reader, your reader should be able to tell you what we're seeing and explain the images on screen. So for those of you who are able to see this, we are talking about how do we get connected. So if you are wanting to be LEAP certified, you have to have a CalCareers. I'm sure folks are here looking for government jobs. Probably a majority of us have a profile on CalCareers. If you don't, that's the only way we can do a LEAP certification. So click the account or create an account and keep on going. So you can go through, I'll talk through these ones pretty quickly. Or excuse me, to the next slide. So if you have seen, I'm sure many of us have, and if you haven't, we're giving you a visual of what it's going to look like. There's a lot of boxes on here. That was a challenge to say what were all those boxes under the alternative text, but this is because we're utilizing this from somebody else's profile. So you probably recognize this. If you want to be LEAP certified, before you do it, you have to edit your contact information. So on the next page, we're going to show you the most important part of editing. You can go to the next page, please, is your social security number. If your social security number is blank on the CalCareers, we're not going to be able to do a certification for you, because what we do is we actually go through the ECOS, or we go through the CalHR SPB site to add your information specifically to the CalHR website. So we need to make sure your social security number is on there. And once you do have a LEAP certification, you'll be able to check. And if you are familiar with this, you're probably seeing the drop downs on the side or the options on this page. You're aware of these, but maybe you've clicked on additional records and you've never seen anything before. If you are LEAP certified, or if you're a veteran, you'll be able to see those will come up. So specifically for a LEAP record, it's going to say on file. And that's pretty automatic. I just did one this morning and I think it went through. Sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes it's 3 hours, sometimes it's automatic. And I'm going to look at a question real quick here, and I think we can go to the next page.
I was just going to say, question, does your LEAP certification ever expire? And if somebody qualified for services but didn't follow through, is it possible to restart that where they left off, or is it from the beginning? What would be the process in those two scenarios?
What is this, softball? I mean, you're giving me some softballs here. This is fantastic. So the expiration, and I didn't see that one. I'm glad you pulled that one up. It never expires. So once you are LEAP certified, you are LEAP certified with a permanent disability. So that's not going to change. So that certification will not change. You'll be LEAP certified as long as you're looking for work, as long as you're working. And then the next question was through the process, if qualified for services, didn't follow through. That's so we encourage, actually the big thing we're really pushing right now is to help individuals consider utilizing their LEAP certification to advance and employment opportunities. Some people are already working, but they're having a challenge getting to that next level. And so either receiving services and working with a DOR counselor and a team that's going to help you to be able to develop that plan and determine what you need, training, support, to be able to get that promotion. That's an option. But if anyone is interested in it, we encourage you to go to the DOR website. We've actually made it a little bit more user-friendly to where you can click on a link, you fill out an online application, and then based on where you're located or your zip code, you will get connected with one of our DOR offices. So yeah, if anyone in here is interested with services, my contact information will be on here afterwards. If you're on LinkedIn, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and ask questions there. I get a lot of those. But yeah, if it's something you're considering, please do. Yeah, and I saw the questions. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So we also, DOR, we're a state agency. So a lot of times when we come to these places, we're a dual purpose. We're here today talking about LEAP and services that we provide to individuals with disabilities, but we do have agents. We're an agency that's across, as I mentioned, state of California. So we have lots of positions opened. Actually, right now we don't have lots of positions open, but I believe next week we're going to have a lot more positions open. So basically what we're doing, next steps then are to apply for I'm sorry, to look for the LEAP exams. Again, this is a pretty quick walkthrough. Most folks, and if you are or not know how to do this, this is a quick walkthrough, but we can continue to walk through. We can bring you back to some of our other trainings that we do to be involved in how to do this. So click on the persons with disability icon, and you can go to the next page. And then the limited examination. So once you receive your results, or so now this is the part where the recording is, and like I said, it's on CalHR. And so if we wanted to go through to the next slide, I think that's just closing it up. Yeah, so this is my contact information. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. But what I'll do is I'll show this recording really quickly. As I said, it's a minute and a half. and we can go through that. And I'll also answer questions while we're not. And so, yeah, we definitely want to help individuals. So my role, I do a lot of business engagement. So you'll see me out in the community, collaborating with businesses, private, local government, federal government, state, under the government umbrella. But we do work with individuals. So I mentioned you have a job counselor, DOR counselor that you can collaborate with and connect with, who's going to help you create a plan. It's called an individualized plan for employment, to determine what it is that you need. And if it is just somebody working with you to help you fill out the application, to build your confidence, to work on mock interviews, to work on completing your statement of qualification, which a lot of these things when you're newer to the state are really overwhelming. We do have teams that help with that. And we're also in partnership with our AJCCs, and we're excited to have Golden Sierra, and I'm sure there's some other folks that are on here today as well that help and support with those services also. Okay.
There was a question too. If someone is LEAP certified but is not seeing it on their CalCareers site, would they reach out to their DOR counselor, or what's the best way to update that?
Yeah, great question. If there is an individual who hasn't seen it pop up, it could be the reason that the Social Security number may not have been connected. And so that's the biggest challenge when they don't go through, is that because it's not a requirement for your Social Security number to be on your CalCareers profile. So that's why we make a big impression on do that. So, but I would say, counselor, you have my contact information now. You can reach out to me. It's a pretty quick check. If I could help you with that as well. And then I did see the acronyms. I try really hard not to use acronyms, and because I know what a pain that is. If there was one that I use, Department of Rehab, I use that one a lot. I use LEAP a lot. Trying to think what else I may have used. If you throw those in the chat.
AJC or something, AJCC or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah. So that one's with our workforce development partners. So the American Job Centers of California. Yeah, good question. Yeah, thank you.
That's us, Golden Sierra, Sacramento Employment Training Agency, or SETA, or SACWorks, sometimes they go by. And then YOLO Works, similar programs as well. But it's just careeronestop.org to find the center that's closest to you. Look at my little plug, Spencer.
Look at my little plug. Well, so I'm gonna, I don't think you need to see the chat. So I'm gonna try to play this real quick. We had a struggle with this. If you've seen this or not seen this, this is a great time. If you've seen it already, stand up, stretch, still listen, because it's always good. But I'm gonna play this and I'm gonna look to somebody to make sure the sound is working.
To take a LEAP readiness evaluation, you will first need to be certified by the Department of Rehabilitation and have an active CalCareer account with your Social Security number and your contact information.
We just see your screen.
Once here, select the persons with disabilities.
You can hear it though.
What in the world? Oh, you know what it was? Yeah, it's not you guys. It's not everyone here. I'll take the blame for that one. There are two buttons. We've been using too many teams. Okay, part 2.
To take a LEAP readiness evaluation, you will first need to be certified by the Department of Rehabilitation and have an active CalCareer account with your Social Security number and your contact information. Once here, select the Persons with Disabilities icon at the top of the page. On the Persons with Disabilities page, you can find the LEAP exam search on the alternate hiring process bar. Click the button for LEAP exams. The applicable LEAP readiness evaluations will populate in the search results. Select the exam that you would like to take by clicking on the Exam ID hyperlink on the left-hand side of the grid under the Exam ID column. This will navigate you to the Preview Exam Bulletin. Read the information. Scroll down to the Click Here link to proceed to the official exam bulletin. Read the entire bulletin. Once you are ready to begin, click the link at the bottom of the bulletin to take the LEAP readiness evaluation. Log into your CalCareer account. Read the information on the exam information page. When you are ready, click Continue. Read the information on the LEAP Readiness Evaluation Terms of Use Agreement. Answer accordingly, then click Continue. Verify your information on the Equal Employment Opportunity screen. Once you certify it is correct, click Continue. To proceed to the examination, continue in the same fashion. Once on the examination, complete it to the best of your ability. Upon completion of your readiness evaluation, you will receive your score. Please allow 72 hours for your results to show under your eligibilities in your CalCareer account.
And it did mention on their score. Let's see. All right. Your score is your pass. Once you do get a score through your LEAP certification, it means that you do qualify for that classification. So it's a lot of information. I know this probably went through really quickly, but feel free to reach out. We'll make sure if you have questions or resources, you can reach out to Sarah, I'm sure, and we can make sure we can send you contact people or resources to help.
Thank you so much. That was great. And I actually did share the DOR LEAP page website into the chat. So if you're interested in that, feel free to click on that and review that later. Although you could probably also find it in your booth, Spencer. Is it in there?
Should be.
It could be.
No, should.
I'll double check and make sure so
Will
that you
be.
have access to it tomorrow.